Okay, so general note for awareness, you may not understand this video whatsoever if you don't go watch my first video, which is the exact same name and title of that this video has, except not part 2, because this is part 2. If I was one of those fancy YouTubers, I'd say click the link right below, but I'm not going to do that. You can just type in the video and get it. Yeah. All right. So it's been a year since I did a review, and the reason why is because, well, I spent a year playing with a light that I decided was the best. I ended up buying a couple different lights that were in a previous video that I made, and I pretty much ran them through the mill, and I tried, I think it was 5 different lights, everything from UV Beast to Alone Fire to even your Harbor Freight UV style light. And say that one of the biggest criticism I got from my last video for the reviews was that I had a handful of people say, why didn't you cover the Convoy C8? The Convoy C8 is our favorite flashlight. Well, I mean, good for you. It's a good flashlight, and so I went and bought one. And I did compare it. And what I'll tell you is, it's a good flashlight. It's better in some ways. My biggest criticism of the Convoy C8 is it is a tighter beam, and it's also 3 times the price. So you're getting a higher output, higher intensity discharge light that's also 3 times the price. If you're okay with spending $100 on a UV light, go for it. I don't care, it's not my money. But if you got a family, or if it's you and a couple buddies, or if you're just trying to do this as a hobby and you're not making money on it, then $30 is fine. I will tell you the benefits about this one though. It produces a wider beam. It's very bright. It is nearly as bright as the Convoy C8. Battery lasts for 4 hours, and it's lighter weight. The Convoy C8 has 2 batteries. It's a much larger flashlight. It's about double the weight. So more compact, easier to put in a pocket, and the battery lasts for 4 hours. And to be completely honest, if you are outside for 4 hours looking for rocks,
4 hours later,
that's a long time. But that being said, Convoy C8, great light, not my favorite. What I ended up deciding on last year was the UV light from Alone Fire. It is the SV18. It is a 12 watt model, and it puts out a 365 nanometer spectrum wavelength, as well as has the black light filter. What was included in the box was the actual light itself. Came with a battery, came with a charger, and it also came with these UV yellow lens glasses. The reason why is UV is harmful and damaging to your eyes, so even if it's at nighttime, you still want to be searching with these on. I always wear them. One thing I will say is, even though I did pick this light as my top pick, and I ended up buying a couple of them, and I recommended them for a lot of people as well, they are fantastic lights. I love the fact that they recharge with a USB Type-C, because I'm an Android user and it's already in my car. So when I'm driving, I can just charge it. When I wake up in the morning, I can just charge it. No issue. You don't have to worry about taking the battery out, getting sand in the gaskets. Life is great. My issue is that walking around the beach at night, you have this green light, which is really fucking bright. Sorry, which is really bright. And at the end of the day, this distracts you. This gets in your eyes. I wish that there was no green light. Other than that, the light is practically perfect. For 30 bucks, this is a top buy in my opinion, up until this point. I haven't reviewed these, but the only complaint I have about these is the green light that turns on when the flashlight is in operation. That being said, what I want to do today is I want to do an unboxing of 3 of the newest lights from Alone Fire. I bought all of them, and I'm ultimately going to pick one of them. assuming that it's better than my original pick from a year ago, which I've been very pleased with this. It was $30 when I bought it from Amazon. These were all in the tune of $45 to $60 price range. And I'll go ahead and I'll display what I ended up purchasing that for, but I wanted to see how bright they were and how they compared to what I end up having here as far as cast and how wide the beam is, and also the power that's being consumed. You know, these have, at least this one and this one have 2, if not 3 batteries in them. So that's something to consider as well for long performance for a long weekend if you don't want to charge it. So I'll go ahead and start to unbox these. All right, so first up on the list from Alone Fire, as they're all from Alone Fire, is the most affordable one. This is the Alone Fire SV53. It's a 36 watt and also 365 nanometer light. What's included with it is, and I've never opened it yet, so we're gonna do it together. All right. So it looks pretty standard from what I ended up buying from the SV18, which was the 12 watt. The only difference I can see right off the bat is it's a 36 watt versus 12 watt, so it's 3 times the output. Comes with the USB Type-C charger, the UV goggles, flashlight pouch, I guess. Here's the light itself. Almost the same form factor as the other one. It looks like it was redesigned a little bit, and I can see right away the output is probably caused by 3 different lights. Here's the battery. Go ahead and install that. Oh, this is a 26650 battery, so much bigger battery. It's going to hold a lot more power. Looks like 500 or 5,000 milliamps versus this one, which was around 2,000. So you're going to have a longer performance time. Unless the power consumption of these lights is significant. So I don't really know what the runtime is going to be. That's not my goal. I just want to see power output. But bigger battery, but this is a standard size battery. The only complaint I had about this one, besides the light, was this is a non-standard battery. It's not an 18650. It's a 21550, I think it is, battery. Either way, it is not a common battery. So the 18650 would be fantastic if it took it. The next best option is a 26650. So this light right here is going to use a 26650. These are very easy to find. They're all over the place. Second most common lithium-ion battery to find. All right, after that, let's see, we've got the, this is the SV43. It's also 36 watt and also 365 nanometer. This one right here, form factor on it's a little bit different. All right, so still gonna have the standard USB cable as well as the UV goggles. Right away I can see that there's one battery here, but the light itself is bigger. And empty, it's heavier. It is, well, I mean, I guess I can compare it. It's quite a bit heavier. It's also got much bigger heat sinks. So much heftier light. I can tell right away this is a much bigger light. I'll go ahead and I'll put the battery in it here in a little bit and check that out. Go ahead and set this aside. And the last one for tonight, oh, I gotta cut that open. Here it is. All right, let's see here. This one right here is the, this is a big boy. This is the Alone Fire H42 UV. It's also a 36 watt, 365 nanometer. So this one right here, I can see right away has 3 different bulbs on it. And looking from the power output, this is the whale. This thing is huge. You're gonna still get the UV goggles, you're still gonna get the UV cable, but this is, I mean, this is to the tune of a sleeve of Oreos, if not bigger. This is a huge light. It also takes 4 of the 18 650s. So I see you have a massive light here compared to the others. I guess from smallest, medium to large. So there's your difference in size. And if it matters, which it actually does to me, this seems like the more tactical version, which is the middle one I reviewed. It's got a clip as well as a hand strap. I think the hand strap is extremely important, especially when you're walking along the water. But for size comparison, you know, here's a ruler. Small one's just over 5 inches, medium one is just over 6 inches, large one is 5.5 inches. But as far as your size in between, the distance or the comparison between the smallest and the largest is significant. So this one right here is not something I would see myself comfortably using on a beach or walking around at night. It's got too much heft to it. I don't see this as being a very comfortable light, and I don't have the batteries in it, so it's going to be even heavier, but I can see right away this is going to be a massive light. These two are fairly comfortable in the hands. I can see this one as probably being the best pick just because it already comes with a hand strap, which isn't a big deal because those are $1 a piece. Probably find one at the Dollar Tree, as well as the clip. But they just both feel good in your hand. There's nothing, I don't think that there's anything wrong with these. Let's go ahead and put some batteries in them and turn them on. All right, so quick size comparison of all the lights. And we've got, sometimes it's hard to get it in. Here's a quick comparison of all the lights that you've got, from the one I currently have all the way to the biggest one itself. So very big difference between this one. As far as these three go, they're roughly the same. You know, one's a little bit longer, one's a little bit fatter. Not a big difference, and I wouldn't say that the performance of these or the feel of these is a big deal. All right, next up, what I'm going to end up doing is I'm just going to go ahead and turn the lights off. And I'm going to focus on the actual fluorescent soda lights. And what we'll do is we'll shine the light itself on them. See what they look. Oh, they already look great right now, even with lights on. But you can see right away that green light I was talking about. Boy, that is, at nighttime, that is so painful for your eyes. So you got to actually cover it with your hand. It's just kind of a pain in the ass to see it. Here, I'll turn the light off, you'll see. So, yeah, right away, I mean, you can just see it just lights up pretty much the whole room. But at nighttime, you know, it is kind of a pain. So, but if you cover it, it does disappear. Regardless, that's just my own little diatribe. So, without further ado, here are what the rocks look like. Now, let's go ahead and focus the camera. Yeah, so they actually brighten up pretty good. And for reference, just so you know, I'm standing exactly 10 feet away from the rocks. So this is what they look like at 10 feet. Now if I were to stand up a little bit farther back, this is going to be about 15, 18 feet away. So that's your comparison. Let's go ahead and pull the next one out. All right. So this one also has a green light, although it is not nearly as bright. Here, I'll focus in on it real quick. It's very minimal compared to the other one. So here's your difference. My biggest complaint with the other light is that very big difference between the two. This one is a very small ring light. This one is just like an LED itself. So, not noticeable whatsoever. It's very minute. Let's go ahead and focus in on the rocks. And boy, they look good. So this is me standing 10 feet away. This is me standing about 15 feet away. Here I'll compare the two. That's the one that I purchased that I was a fan of. That's the 12 watt Alone Fire. That's the 36 watt. So it looks like there's a little halo effect in the middle of the light itself. This is a little bit more of a direct spot beam. It does cast a little to the side, but this one's a little bit more of a flood overall. So it's a little bit more intense in the middle with the one that I purchased, but the output is more significant towards the outside of the actual light itself. So I would say that for the money, the original 12 watt light is the way to go compared to this one. Alright, next up is the middle. Oh, also one other thing to be aware of is this light has a new function that the other one does not, which is a high setting and a low setting. So if you need high, great, you got it. That's pretty much what I would always search with. And if you need medium, it doesn't really affect the rocks. You can still see them. So, all right, moving on to the middle light in the series here. It also has two settings, high and medium. So this is me from about 10 feet away. This is me from about 15 feet away. So definitely bright. And when the light actually changes from settings, it goes from high to low, but there's a nice little fade out or a gradient. I don't think it's worth any extra money, but it is worth noticing. It's kind of nice. It's a little gradual dimming down. Same thing with turning off. It's a gradual turn off. Okay, I'll compare the second light to this third light. And I don't really see a noticeable difference, except for in the middle of the second light there's a little halo, and in the middle of the third light there doesn't appear to be a halo. So, also you have battery indicators here, which I'll go ahead and zoom in on. And with the third light, which was the medium style, you have a couple different dots that represent battery strength compared to the small green output. This is also blue. This is kind of annoying. This one's not. So, I don't know. Just preference. And then lastly, and this is probably going to be the most dramatic jump, is the big one. I'm going to call it the whale, not that it is really called that, but it's just big. It's the size of a dang Oreo sleeve. Alright, this is me from about 10 feet away, and it's bright. It's most definitely brighter. It's the brightest of them all, but it's more of a flood light rather than a spot. So here's on, I guess, high setting. It's got a low, and it's got off. So it's got a high, low, and off. And one thing that I did not set the camera up was for manual, so it did adjust. But what I can do is I can do a quick comparison of them all, starting with the first light that I've owned, which is the 12 watt. This is me from 10 feet. Going to the next light, which is the second pick. This is high setting from 10 feet. You can see there's a halo. There's a circle in the middle. I actually really don't like that at all. Maybe it's a bad model, but not a fan of this one. And that's the low power, which is considerably less than mine. I would say that my recommendation is pass on this. The middle model, which is the one with the strap as well as the clip. Here is high power. There is still a very small halo in the middle. You can see that circle moving around, but that's because it is 3 bulbs. All of these are actually 3 bulbs. So you've got the middle, because it's set up like a triangle for the configuration of the bulbs. Still pretty bright, I'd say comparable to the original light. Here they are together. There's the original light. There's the new one. I'd even say that the original one's brighter, but it's more of a spot, whereas this one is more of a flood. So something to consider if you want a floodlight. Even though it's 36 watts, I still believe that my original pick is the best buy. And then last up is the large 4 bulb or the large 4 battery light, which is the size of a sleeve of Oreos. Here's high setting, there's low setting, off, original light, high, off, high. So as far as spot goes, the original light is more of a spot, but the big light is more of a flood, but I would definitely say it's more powerful. That being said, the trade-off is significant. It's at least twice the size and probably 3 times the weight. So even on the low setting, you're still getting a really nice output. So as far as power output goes, this is comparable, if not better, than the C8 Convoy. And I did try that light out, and it was nice, but it was more of a spot. So that's something you got to keep in mind. Do you want flood to open up your opportunities to catch as many as possible, or do you want spot and have intensified light so long as you actually target the rocks? So the big one has the best flood as well as the biggest output. The original one that I sided with last year, I would say, is still overall the best pick. I'm just saying, after buying these all and reviewing them, I still don't think you can touch it for the money. Yeah. All right, so overall review time, and I'm actually not overly impressed. So the resounding, to cut to the chase, because a lot of YouTubers are long-winded, I still stick with my original buy from a year ago. This is still the best pick of them all. The price point is the lowest. It's $30 versus $45 to $60. It's got all the same features. It comes with sunglasses. It comes with a charger. It comes with a battery. And the output is great. So case in point, the 12 watt SV18 12 watt 365 nanometer is still the best pick for the brightest output, as well as the price, as well as the features and the form factor. I think all things considered, this is still your overall winner. Now that being said, looking at the ones that I actually purchased, which were newer, you know, it's kind of disappointing with these 2 up front right here, because I opened it up and all 3 of these lights that I purchased are 3 bulb lights. All of them are. But I don't notice a major power output change. Both of these only use 1 battery. They're both 36 watt bulbs, or 36 watt outputs, which is 12 watts per bulb. So it's essentially the exact same light times 3, but I don't notice a difference. I don't notice a difference in output. Form factor is pretty similar between all 3 of these, but you know, price is $45 to $55, and I'm just not feeling the features, honestly. So I think that this pick right here, which is the smallest of the 3, is the SV53. I was actually the least impressed with this. It is the smallest, but I was least impressed with it. The middle one, which is the SV43, it did a better job and it didn't have as much of a halo effect in the middle, but I don't really notice a significant difference between power output between this and the 12 watt. So yes, this has 3 bulbs, this has 1, but they're both just about as bright. This one has more of a flood, this one has more of a spot, but it's not significant. I wouldn't say that it's worth spending almost twice the money for this when you could get 2 of these. You know, you and a buddy go hunting together. And then lastly is the biggest one. I was actually very impressed with the output of this. So all of those C8 Convoy fans that are out there, I'm telling you what, you got to run for your money. This puts out a higher output than the C8 Convoy does, but it comes at the cost. The C8 Convoy is going to be similar. It's going to be a little bit longer than this light, but about the same form factor. The C8 Convoy is maybe about 2 inches longer. Looks similar to this. Very similar form factor. But this sucker right here, it puts out way more power than the C8 Convoy does for half the price. Now yes, it does have 4 batteries. It's got the same number of bulbs, same output, 36 watts. But your benefit of this light right here is that, yeah, it is a little bit smaller, but the negative thing is it's just much heavier. It's chonky. So if you're going for power output and you're going for flood, you've got big hands, this is a fine way to go. But, you know, if I had to rank all these from, let's see, these are the 3 that I purchased to review. This is the one that I purchased a year ago and then fell in love with. I would still go with this one. It's 50% or less the price of any of these. Power output is significant. Just as strong, if not stronger than any of these. The negative is I don't like this green light that comes on right here. And now the negative is I don't like this green light that comes on right here. But besides that, I'm sold on the price, I'm sold on the form factor, I'm sold on the fact that it takes a bulb, I'm sold on the fact that it's USB Type-C rechargeable. I've been out for 4 hours before and I didn't run out of battery. Now I didn't have it on the entire 4 hours, but I definitely had it on for 2. So I've had this light on for a solid 2 hours straight before and no issues. So I still love this light. I think it's a great deal. Comes with your sunglasses, your charger, everything you need. And my honest opinion would be I would stay away from these 2, and if you just care about power output, just go for the big one. And the big one is the H42. But if you don't care about power input and you don't want something that's large form factor, I would say you should go with the original one, which is the 12 watt. This is the SV18. That would be my opinion. I was really hoping for more power output for the money, but I was disappointed. So Alone Fire, you got great products, but I think that you knocked it out of the park with this original SV18. All right, just for awareness, the light that I use is the Alone Fire SV18. Great performance, great beam, very powerful, $30-some off Amazon. And the battery lasts for at least 4 hours. That's awesome. Oh, hey there. It's been a while. In fact, it's been like a year. In fact, the last time that I actually taped all of this was a year ago. Almost to the exact date. So I actually just went, out hunting, and I found my yearly limit of 24.99 pounds. And I went ahead and I had a blast. It was cold, but it's warming up. There's no more ice out there. And what I wanted to do was, I had been asked this question by a lot of people. How long did the light last? Well, I'll give you a hint. I was out there for 4 hours, and this is the one that I prefer the most, which I think is the Whale, the D22. But I was out there for 4 hours, no issues, no dead battery. So it lasted for 4 hours, and it was also about, I think, 38 degrees outside. So the cold didn't affect it, lasted for 4 hours. I will say one thing, that after 2 years of owning it, the yellow glasses that came with this thing, they finally broke. I mean, I guess I can't complain because I used them a ton, but they're shitty. So what I did learn was, any of your glasses that have blue blockers in them, you can just use those instead of this, because the blue blocker is going to filter out the UV. So if you buy your glasses from like Zenni or Warby Parker or something like that, just go ahead and wear those things, and then you don't have to worry about distance and yellow tint, and that's all. So just figured I'd recap with that, and cheers to a good hunting season with this delicious Bud Light. No, I'm just kidding. I would never drink Bud Light again. This is a natural light. They're not our sponsor, but I do like them. Oh yeah, I had this map here all of a sudden. I don't know why. This is upside down actually, but if you flip it, you can see that this is the Lake Superior, Wisconsin, Lake Michigan area. And another question that a lot of people have asked me is, where's a good place to hunt? I only go to Lake Superior, but I know that these things can be found all over the Great Lakes. In fact, I've heard that they have been found in all 5 of the Great Lakes. But I only hunt in Superior. And I have really good luck here in the southern Keweenaw area, essentially from Calumet down to about Lake of the Clouds area. So right in that area is really good. I've never found anything in the Keweenaw Bay. It's like sand. I stay away from Marquette. In my opinion, I've never really found anything from Berga all the way over to Marquette, so I stay away from the Huron Mountains area. Plus, most people can't get into there. But once you get to Autrain and Munising, pretty much everything to Whitefish Point is free game. And I have had great luck in the Grand Marais area, in the Crisp Point area, Two Heart, Whitefish Point. So if I were to give you one suggestion, it would be going from this area. Just my opinion. But if you live closer to the Minnesota or Wisconsin area, hey, give this one a shot. And worst case scenario, you enjoy a nice weekend up in the Keweenaw. So good luck, happy hunting, and I probably won't see you out there because it's dark and we're all focused on rocks, but good luck.